Hello, can anyone hear me? I do not know why this video is not starting. Hello, can anyone hear me? Okay, what I'm going to do is take out this and see if this works.
Hello. I wanted to come on and try to do this live. I'm just testing it. Okay, I know what I'm going to have to do. It's interesting. Hello. Okay, it looks like I'm able to be heard now. At first, you guys, I don't know what was going on. This is my first time doing this way, but I wanted to come on here. I don't know. I don't know if I'm echoing. I had my mic inside and I may be echoing a little bit. I guess I will know when I play it back. This is kind of a test run. And let's see here. I may be echoing. I don't know. I have no one here to let me know that. But I wanted to come on tonight just to test this out to see if I could go do like an impromptu kind of live. I'm gonna try to do this with the mic in. So let's see how this works.
Okay. Oh, this is good. This is great. This is great because I think that it will block out some of the noise for us. So, this is Married to Medicine Reunion Part 1. So, I wanted to talk to you about um, my thoughts on the reunion tonight. And again, this is really a test run for me for the Bravo shows that I like. I love the Real Housewives shows, and I have mentioned to you that I love Married to Medicine as well. Married to Medicine Atlanta, that is. From what I understand, they are supposed to be bringing on another Married to Medicine. They were supposed to be looking in the DC, the DMV area. I think that would be a great area to have Married to Medicine. LA, Married to Medicine LA was a great area to have Married to Medicine show for Bravo. I think they need me to cast the members. That's what they need. They just did casting based on who Contessa knew, and her friend who didn't even live in LA. Her friend moved from Miami to LA to be on the show. So that was not authentic. And I think that's probably why it didn't work out. But moving forward, I want to just say Andy opens up and we see all the ladies. They are looking beautiful. And contrary to popular belief, I thought that Dr. Simone looked especially beautiful. First of all, let me say, I know a lot of people love to talk about um, her look, her dress that she wore this evening. Her uh, her complexion is absolutely flawless. She has a beautiful complexion. I think Dr. Simone is beautiful. She's just a little loud sometimes and squeaky for me. I respect her profession though, and I would actually see her as a physician. I think I've said something contrary to her in the past because of the loudness, but I actually would go see her as a physician because I believe she's intelligent. So I really liked her look. When Quad walked out though, my favorite dress of the evening, well, I have two favorite dresses. It was Quad's and Heavenly. I also loved Toya's dress as well. However, my favorite is between Quad and Heavenly. I really love that beaded, elegant gown that Heavenly wore. My favorite look of the evening overall, I would have to say, is Quad. Overall, from head to toe, is Quad. From her look, her makeup, her dress. At first, I thought the dress had the green on one sleeve, but tonight I saw that it had it on both sleeves. So that balanced it out for me and helped me to like it more because had it been on one sleeve, I would not have understood it. Then again, I am not sure. This may not be true. I have not looked into it either. I probably should have before coming on here. Quad, I believe, might be an AKA. I know several of the women are in sororities. I just don't know if it's Delta or AKA. Dr. Jackie, I believe, is a soror, and I believe Dr. Simone is a soror. I just don't know which ones. I need to look into that, and I can bring that back for next week's reunion. Um, Let me make a note of that. Find out who the sorors are. Okay. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I noticed that Quad's gown had a little bit of pink in it, and the sleeves had that green, uh, standing out. So that's what made me think she may be an AKA. Um, so I want to say that the other thing is, I disagree with the overall look being Dr. Heavenly. A lot of the YouTubers on here have said that Dr. Heavenly's look was the absolute best. I think it's better than she's done in the past. I have to remind myself that Dr. Heavenly, in my humble opinion, is really copying Mariah. I think she is trying to copy the look. I've seen her copy the looks of women that she has had issues with, which makes me think that she has a deep embedded jealousy of those women and their physical or aesthetic appearances. Um, I digress. Okay, these are doctors. These are African American doctors, Black American doctors, and I have to first of all say I'm so proud of them. I am so proud. You know, I believe that we have to really, in spite of what Cosby has done, give respect to the show. The Cosby Show, because he was the first Black doctor on TV, and his wife was an attorney, first Black attorney. So after that show, it really encouraged Blacks and let us know that we could do more. And then you had the school that he had that came on, A Different World. That school encouraged more Blacks to go to college. We were looking at those programs. I believe that the people who create the shows, they saw Blacks headed into positive directions, and that's why they took those shows off television. That is exactly what happened. And they began to put on other shows that showed Blacks in other positions, doing things that um, were not encouraging for the community. People really need to pay attention to how television messes with your mind. Don't let it do it to you. Do not let it do it to you. Go out here and become creators and producers and find Black financiers yourself to get them to produce your shows. Okay. And the other thing I would say is, even with this Google, because a lot of you don't know, Google owns YouTube. I know I'm going off on a tangent. I want to go off on this tangent. Uh, this forum that many of us come onto, we could we have enough information and knowledge and education in our community to create it as well. And that's what I want to say. So I digress. I will move forward. Um, they show Contessa doing TikTok. I did not see the TikToks. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of TikToks in my spare time. I've thought about doing a TikTok myself. At the same time, they're so short-lived, but I go through a bunch of 'em. I can watch TikTok. I had no idea until recently. I'm just scrolling through. I have not come across Dr. Contessa. From the looks of it, though, Contessa needs to stay off TikTok. I don't know. I just Contessa strikes me as someone who needs an immense amount of attention, just a lot of attention. First she had to go to school for 2 years because she wants to be a surgeon general. I wonder when she's going to apply for that role, or what politician she's going to mesh with to kind of put her in that role. I want to see that come to fruition since you fought so hard and risk your marriage for it. I want to see that come to fruition, Contessa, Dr. Contessa. Also, this TikTok thing, people do it, we see other people doing it. I know in my mind, I saw other people doing it and I was like, I can do that. Let me try that, a couple of times. And then I thought about it and I'm like, nay, I still may try something on TikTok. It may not be the dancing though. So I didn't like her moves on TikTok. Quite frankly, I know I'm being kind of bold. That's part of my character. I'm a little bit direct sometimes. So I the next thing they talk about is and Latoya and Anila. Throughout the season, as you recall, Latoya was very upset about Anila not paying the makeup artist that Latoya referred to her to do her makeup. And I guess makeup was for the show, the dress was for the show. Quite frankly, I could not tell that Anila had utilized any makeup artist. If she did, I did not see a big difference. So I'm trying to understand what the big fuss is about. And Anila really, in my humble opinion, does not need makeup. She just needs probably a good hydrator. She could get along just fine on that show with no makeup. So Toya, I thought, to take that situation and to be so upset about it the way she was throughout the season, and to even to initiate and continue that anger here at the reunion, was outlandish and childish to me. That is not something that would make me so upset to be continually mad at a friend. In fact, I'm trying to understand even why the makeup artists who are business people would go to Toya and send her text about another client not paying them. That's a bad business practice. That's unethical. It is really an invasion of someone else's information. They should have sent Anila a bill, first of all. Then they should have sent her another bill, maybe some reminder phone calls, and then just turn her over to credit and collections. After about 90 days, or is it 60 days? That's what they do. That's what a business does. You don't pick up the phone. I've never had a business pick up the phone and call me and say, Hey, look, Bree, we got Susie Q over here. She's your friend. She owes us money. So we're going to send you a text about it. She ain't paid us yet, girl. That is extremely unprofessional. So I will move forward and say that I was glad to see that they made up, but I want to know from you all. Anila had receipts and Toya had text messages. So which one outweighs the other? I think the receipts outweigh the text messages because the receipts should have a date, a time, the amount, and the last four digits of the card on some of them. Unless you have a black card, it doesn't print that out at all. It has, something else on it. So if someone were to say, I have something to prove that you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and they showed their text, but you had your receipts or vice versa, which one outweighs the other? Okay. And do you agree with me about the fact that that is highly unprofessional for a business, even if you are a makeup artist or even a hairstylist, whatever it is that you are, to be contacting one of your other clients about something that another client owes you? It does not matter what industry you are in, it's unprofessional. And I have to say, I'm learning that this music industry business and sometimes people in this Hollywood business, and especially, I hate to say it, but Black culture is so trivial and unprofessional. You look crazy. Get you a a handbook, include your business code of ethics, your mission statement, your goals, your financial statement, your uh, whatever it is that you need to include in your handbook, and abide by it. And stop being unprofessional out here and making passes at people in the production studio. That's grounds for sexual harassment. That happens a lot in the music industry, and I'm just bringing that up because of what I saw tonight with Toya and Anila, and the fact that those, I digress. I know you've heard enough. Let me move forward. Um, so Andy moves on, and he says something about Toya's home, right? And I may be all over the place here. I don't have it in any specific order, but he talks about Toya's home, and he says, "Have you moved yet?" Because people are talking about her home, and then oh no, he asked her, has she been to Anila's home yet? Or was it, oh my gosh, I cannot even remember. At any rate, they were talking about Anila's home. I'm sorry. They were talking about Anila's home, and they were talking about the cost of it. And Anila's home, she said it started out at 1.7 and it ended up being $3 million, which I'm sure that if they didn't have it to put in there, they wouldn't have moved in. They would not have been able to move in. So somebody has it somewhere, or they've proven something financially somewhere, because the bank is not just going to put you in a $3 million home. So no one can really talk crass or junk about that. So uh, I think it was that Andy threw Toya some shade by asking if she had been to Anila's home, and she had not yet been to Anila's home. Uh, I don't know why that is. They asked if anyone else had been, he asked, had anyone else been to Anila's home as well? And no one else had except Quad. Quad had been there. Okay. So um, they go on uh, to the next. Oh, I want to go back and back up and say, did you catch when Anila told Toya that she had not given her makeup artist a raise in 8 years? So are these Toya's personal artists, makeup artists? Uh, or are they makeup artists and she utilizes their services? That's what I'm trying to understand. So they go on, and Heavenly could not wait to interact with Toya. She has a beef. Her and Toya have an ongoing beef, of course. And so Heavenly and Toya get into this big debate, and Toya starts to bring up the fact that she is responsible for Heavenly being on the show, which this is the second time I've heard that. However, I do recall that when Mariah was on the show 2 seasons ago, when she first returned to the show, she said that she was responsible for bringing Heavenly on the show. I do know that Mariah and Toya knew each other beforehand. So perhaps Toya introduced Heavenly to Mariah, and Mariah decided, yes, let's bring her on. That must be it, because Mariah sure did say that she's responsible for Heavenly being on the show. And now Toya is saying she's responsible for introducing her to all of these women. So her and Heavenly have, almost a knockdown drag out that Andy, he discontinues. But in the middle of that knockdown drag out, um, let's see here. In the middle of it, let's see here. I'm sorry. Let me see how I'm going to do this here. Okay, I think I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Let's see. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I am jumping ahead. I'm going to come back to that. They start talking about Quad and her dating. And Quad says she's dating a few candidates right now. And one is a doctor. She said, I'm happy to say one is a doctor. So she's happy to date a doctor, okay? This person may be coming on the show eventually soon, okay? And then she says, and he is fine. I think she brought that up because she didn't think the same about her husband, her ex-husband. For her to say, and he is fine, meaning he's very good looking. And so I haven't seen any photos out there. I'm going to have to get out there and look. I'm not on Facebook and I'm not on Instagram for a reason. I will digress that reason. It is not because I was kicked off. I'm just going to go ahead and say I do not like Zuckerberg and I don't want to support anything that he does. When I see Facebook popping up anywhere in my midst, I do my best to get rid of it, and Instagram. So I'm not on either of those at all. And I have no plans to ever be a part of Facebook, not for a business or anything. So it's going to be hard for me to locate photos unless I find them online somewhere. But I have a connection that I'm going to be meeting up with next week. So hopefully that will help me a little bit, start getting a little more information out here to you guys. But okay, so it's good to hear that Quad is dating again. They also bring up Toya and Quad start going back and forth about Quad renting or not renting, and Toya says that Quad approached her. The reason she kept bringing it up is because Quad approached her about renting a house in her neighborhood, and that she was looking to spend maybe 5 grand a month. Now, let this be a lesson. When you see certain characters or certain personalities, don't tell them your business. Toya is not anyone you should tell your business to ever. Never. And the good thing about Quad is Quad owns her own stuff. So she said, yeah, I did. I did that. When you own your own stuff, see how quickly that got shut down? It got shut down. And we've seen where she lives. She has a, 3-story townhome. She's a single person, so she doesn't really need a huge house right now. Hi, is that AC? Oh, okay, yeah, good for me, right? Okay. Thank you for coming. I just came on here impromptu tonight. I'm talking about Married to Medicine. I'm going through it. I don't know how long you've been here, but I've gotten to the part about, Quad and Toya. What do you think about Married to Medicine tonight? Also, I'm doing my avatar tonight. This is actually an avatar when I was in real estate school. I was in my SUV, and that's why you see the seatbelt there. That's when I first uh started my YouTube channel about over a year ago. So you know, Get down in the comments and tell me what you think about Married to Medicine tonight. Yes. They embarrass you? How did they embarrass you? Yeah, and I see your other comment. I'm just now seeing it. You agree that they were highly unprofessional, the makeup artists. So yeah, definitely about that. But what do you think about Quad saying that the doctor she's dating is fine? It's almost as if she made it a point. Well, let me text back. Oh, let me tell her. You're gonna hear me on this phone real quick. Hey, hey, I'm on live right now, okay? Oh no, that's okay. I got it straightened. I was gonna ask you something, but you can come in. You can come into the room. Okay, bye. Okay. Yeah, me either. And I that's what makes me think that they do it for the show. And I'm about to get into a little bit of that here shortly with Contessa. Because with Contessa, I think that Contessa is that this is a whole storyline for her. I really do. I think this is a whole storyline for her. Um, but Quad saying that her, she's dating she has a few candidates that she's dating, and that uh her doctor friend that she's dating is fine. I thought that that was kind of a little shade being thrown at her previous, her ex-husband. She could have kept that to herself, because he's probably you never know whether or not he's watching. She really broke that man's heart, but what goes around comes around. And I like Quad, but I don't like women who use men like that because men have feelings as well. So I don't like that. Um, so I don't understand the breakdown between Toya and Heavenly, what their beef is about, because in the past they have gotten along pretty well. And I just have a hard time pitying Toya. In one part of the show tonight, she talked about how she was going through so much at home, and that's why her behavior was as it was on this show. Oh, wait. Uh, Ase, you say she might not be with anyone. She may not be with anyone. She may just be talking. Well, that's true because we haven't seen any photos, have we? We haven't seen anything. And she seems like the kind of woman who would be anxious to put something out there, you know? But Toya tonight complained, her excuse for mistreating her friends this season was largely due to her marriage, things she was going through. She was concerned, not her marriage, but things she was concerned about. She was concerned about her husband's health and him having to be out, at the hospital every night and working those long hours. And then one night he came home and he was coughing. And so she was concerned about that because they have kids in the house. So she complained about that and said that is why she mistreated the ladies. Well, Toya's an educated woman. She should know better. That's misdirected anger. When you know when you're angry at someone and they haven't done anything to you. You know that. That's misdirected anger. She should not have been taking that out on those women. And so when she started crying, it was hard for me to empathize with her in that way. I empathize with her. I do too. I do too, Rose. I think it had to do with the financial part. That's what I was thinking. Because, she doesn't like to struggle financially. And for her to have first moved in that home, and she said, initially when they moved in that home, just what was it, only 2 years ago? Only 2 years ago they moved in that home, 2 or 3 years ago. And she said this was her dream home. This is her dream home. And now she's moving out of her dream home. 3 years later, you haven't even done the 15 years. At least give it 15 years. And now she's moving out because she wants to be closer to her kids' school. Oh, she was closer to her kids' school before they moved into her dream home. So I just want to know what happened there for real. Was anything that Quad said correct? Because Quad made some comments about that. And you notice Dr. Jackie tried to say to her, I'm so glad that Dr. Jackie, I love her. She is a perceptionist. Okay. She sees right through the reality of a person's behavior. And I love that because I'm that way as well. I can see right through a behavior. And because of it, some people think that I'm hard whenever I say something, and I'm not really being hard. Um, I'm just being real clear about the matter most of the time and what it is. Because some people really, even as adults, I found that some adults are not really introspective. I think that people who really know themselves are people who constantly examine themselves and examine who they are. So you said what? Oh, she may either have been renting the home or the home was a quick investment to pay off debt. Really? In that neighborhood? Because that was $1 million neighborhood. The home was like 2 million, which was more than the one that they were in before. And she said that they had paid off their IRS taxes a couple of years ago. That's why they were able to get into the home. Wow, okay. How would you do that? That's an interesting take. Because why? How would the bank allow them to move into that home if they were in debt? But why would the bank allow? So you're thinking they were renting the home. Well, I never heard of them packets, and I used to work in mortgages. What packets are you guys referring to? I used to work in mortgages, and I know no, regardless of how wealthy you are, you have to you can't have a certain amount of debt. Yeah, they had to have bought that home, um, and they weren't buying it for an investment. She may have seen an opportunity. Maybe, you know what? Maybe they got an offer because it was televised. And sometimes people will make an offer to you on your home. They'll come and make an offer. Okay. Well, you think they went through a different, not a standard bank, is what you're saying. And you're right about that. They can do that. But if they do that, the interest rate's going to be very high. You know, I'm thinking it may be that someone made an offer that really was going to give them some residual and they took it for that. What are they getting paid? I'm going to have to look into what they're getting paid on Married to Medicine. I hope that I always tell people if you're going to do a reality show, know your worth. They are using your likeness. The reason people in Hollywood get paid so much is because of their likeness. Make sure you're in syndication, and you shouldn't take for a show like Married to Medicine, you really shouldn't take less than 5 mil. I don't understand Nene. Nene was only getting 1.2 mil. I would never let them use my likeness like that for less than, because I know that they're going to show me over and over again that I'm going to be online. My likeness is going to be all over the place. That's at least 5 mil per season for me. So they paid off their old debt. Okay. It had to be something financial because she said that was her dream home. So I'm going to move forward because she's never going to tell the truth about that. I don't because she's too prideful. If she lets that out, she'll be old and gray, telling stories to her grandchildren about how her and Eugene had to give up their home. The grandchildren will hear it. Um, but it was hard for me. I really loved that Dr. Jackie butted in to tell her about herself. Dr. Jackie told her, she said, you need to take some accountability, and then she did eventually take the accountability. So I was really happy to see that. And I was very glad. Notice how Andy made sure that he allowed Dr. Jackie to make that point. So that allowed her to apologize. Um, so let's see here. So, you know what I don't understand that is going on and I know it's just me, and I have to ask you, please don't judge me. I am I'm completely turned off by these women on these shows who want to kiss each other. Number one, Heavenly's married, so why is she concerned about being kissed by her one of her best friends like that? I don't get that. Um, it's a turn off for me. I tell people all the time, I'm like a gazillion percent hetero because it doesn't do it. I'm gazillion percent hetero. It's just, and additionally, you're married, so why do you need to be kissed by another woman on live TV? It's disgusting. Yeah, she did lose a child. Um, you know what? Thanks for reminding me of that, Rose, because that could be some of her headache as well. She's probably sad about that because didn't they say it was a little girl? Did they say what the sex of the child was? Um, you know, overall, I hope that her and Eugene stay together forever. I really do. I love them as a couple. They've been together since I think her college years. So they went together for a long time before they got married. Just like Heavenly and Damon. So I hope that they stay together, and I hope they stop moving in and out of these houses. I'm like, goodness, the children are going to be so unstable. It's like, stop it already. Every season, every other season, they're moving in or out of another house. I digress on that. Um, so I want to go on and talk about the big part for me, and it came toward the end, and it has to do with Contessa's marriage. Andy asked Contessa about her marriage and if the D word had come up. And Contessa, her response is, these women, they know me very well. Any one of them can give you the answer. And so Quad butts in and says, yes, Contessa has filed for separation papers. What was that all about? I'm like, why are you allowing someone else to answer about your marriage? That right there nipped it in the bud for me. It's her storyline. It's her storyline. Her husband came out. They were in the house that morning. You know, he comes out at the end and he's like, you didn't even tell me we were getting a divorce. You didn't say anything like that. It's a storyline. Contessa has to have a storyline to stay on. If you remember, right before she to went to Tennessee a couple of years ago, her and her husband were getting along fine when she first came on the show. She is not afraid of Scott. No, that's not it. She and her husband were getting along fine, and in between that time and the next season, Bravo, the rumor was Bravo might not bring her back. That was the rumor on the street. Bravo brought her back on the show, and that's when she went into that Tennessee thing. And she really went to school in Tennessee, of course, but I guess she had to because other than that, it really would have looked like a storyline. So she had to do it for real. So her thing is she wants to be a surgeon general. So I want to see her become surgeon general now. I want to see her put that into action because that's what you went to school, risk your family for. Okay. And they, in the beginning, they were equally yoked. The beginning, Scott and Contessa were not having any issues. Contessa created this as a storyline. She really did. And so I I want to see her become if it's not a storyline, she needs to become a surgeon general. That's the proof for me that it's not a storyline. She needs to and isn't the surgeon general chosen by the president of the United States? Isn't that a position that is chosen by the president? So I want to see her become that, or at least be in line for it. Something. Also, Scott, whenever the show was airing, before the reunion, and they were talking about his life coach, I was under the impression that it was a woman. Well, Asa, that's what she said that she went to Tennessee to. That's why she went to Tennessee to med school. She's already a doctor before that, but she went to medical school. She needed those additional 2 years to qualify to become a surgeon general. So that's her goal. So she wanted to get that under her belt, and she did. She graduated. They went to her graduation and everything. Yeah. Um, so Helena, you remember them getting along very well, and then suddenly there was these issues, and now she's having a different issue. Um, so now her husband is seeing a life coach, which in the season I thought was a girl, but then toward the end of the season they said it was a man, and now tonight you can hear him in some of the clippets of the show saying that she knew who he was texting, that she knew about it. He said that in the room with the men. But during the show, everyone was saying she didn't know about it. That was the discussion around that was the topic around the table. And Quad and Heavenly brought that home by saying, you're talking to a woman that your wife doesn't even know about for 6 months. But then in the green room tonight, he said she knew about it. So I think that Scott, for me, Scott is not he doesn't really like being on the show like this. I think that maybe some of these issues were pushed off on him. He's not that guy. When they came on the show, they had been together like 12 years or something like that. Now they've been together 16 years. So, and Scott is not someone who is comfortable with this kind of thing. He really does seem more like a doctor who really likes his quiet time. He wanted to be a doctor. He didn't want to be on Married to Medicine. So I think that that's the conflict between the two of them. She wants to be on Married to Medicine. And she's one of these people who seems like she wants to do everything. She wants to be a surgeon general. She wants to be a mom, a dad, a doctor. And who else knows what anything else she wants? I'm just like, and even her dress, her style has changed from season 1 to now. She has started to dress sexier. Yeah, I agree, Asa. He does not really like being on the show. He looks like he's uncomfortable, and that's some of that nonverbal that we see in him with his facial expressions and his body language. And uh he was getting up, walking away from the table, when they were having the discussion about his marriage. He was walking away from the table because he doesn't want that stuff aired, even if it's true. Whether it's true or not, he doesn't want it aired. No, her friends who were in California, please send them back to the beach. Let them live. We don't want to see them on TV anymore. None of them. Zero. Keep them off. They are not the Married to Medicine that I'm looking for. Besides, most of them were not even doctors. Only what? Three? Well, actually, three of them were doctors. I guess that's okay. But they weren't interesting. And they were creating storylines on the way out. It's just I they need women and men who live in LA and are willing to do Married to Medicine. I think what happened with that is in the area where they wanted that show to be presented, you have a lot of Hollywood types and a lot of people who know what it's like to be on TV because they've lived out there and they don't want that kind of stuff. They already know. They probably know people in the industry and they don't want it. And if they do it, you're gonna have to pay them a beautiful penny the way you're paying Dr. Terry Dubrow and Dr. Nassif. You know, Dr. Terry Dubrow is Heather's husband, and Heather is about to return to Real Housewives of Orange County. Well, Dr. Dubrow loves reality. He wanted to do a reality show, and he wanted his wife to do a reality show. So they like it. But I believe there are other, yeah, yeah. Real Housewives of LA was very stale. I was so happy it went off. I fell asleep, I think, third show in, and after that I just couldn't even get into it anymore. I remember they even brought the Married to Medicine Atlanta out there to kind of, spice up the show a little bit, and that didn't even work. Listen, Bravo's got to get a handle on it. I don't like the way Andy treats, or I shouldn't say treat. I think he kind of mistreats um, the African American cast on these shows. I didn't like the way that he cut Quad off. I thought that was disrespectful. I didn't like it. Um, he should have let her say something because they were talking about Toya after all. So whenever he is interviewing the African American housewives and Married to Medicine people, he's not as nice as he is when he's doing Beverly Hills, Orange County, Dallas, even New Jersey. He practically licks Teresa's butt. I mean, literally, the woman pushed him down, knocked him out. And then on top of that, and I'm not knocking anyone for having trouble in their life. We've all had certain, things happen to us in our lives. So I'm not picking on Teresa. I thought that that was a sad thing for her to have to go to prison and leave her girls. I was sad about it. My point in bringing it up is here's a woman who has, um, she didn't really throw the table. She lifted the table. If she could have thrown it, she would have. But she knocked him down at a reunion, knocked him back in the seat. Um, and she, you know, did have those financial issues that sent her to prison. And she is still here and he's treating her like she's gold, is my point. She didn't, he's not, well, as far as I'm concerned, Nene can stay gone, but they need to get rid of Teresa too. I don't think Nene should come back because Nene has made a spectacle of herself. The way that she went about trying to get what she wanted out of Bravo was not the way to do it. That was not the way to do it. I think that she thought by putting them on blast that they would respond kindly, but they have to think of their vested interest. And when you come out and say those things, it's different if you're saying those things to the executives behind closed doors in a professional way. Like she could have went behind closed doors and said, "Look," and she may have done this, I don't know, but she could have said, "This is what you're doing. You did this with Kim, you did this with Teresa. I'm just asking you if I can have a show." Something to that nature. Yeah. Nene has turned out to appear to be a bully, but I don't think that Nene is a bully. She's become more aggressive over the years. I think she handled fame the wrong way. When Nene first came on the show, I adored her. I absolutely loved her. I will tell you who I do not like, and that's Sheree. Because I still remember how Sheree has been consistently. The reason Sheree was on the show is directly in kind because of Nene. And the entire time, every season, she has found a way to sock it to Nene in some sort of way. And I just saw that as being ungrateful. And I really think Sheree is missing a few marbles. I really do. I don't think the way that she speaks and the way she carries herself is so outlandish to me. And so I think Sheree is more of the bully. I really do. But I used to love Nene. I don't like the Nene that has allowed fame to turn her into something different. Um, Remember that first season? Sheree had that party and left Nene's name off the list. Do you guys remember that? Kim was changing her clothes in the parking lot. At any rate, well, that's Married to Medicine, and it was over before I could blink. Do you guys think it was a short season? It seemed shorter than usual. Maybe it's because it was. You think Nene is not interesting at all? She's a mean girl. Yeah, Sheree. You think she? I don't know if she's sneaky or I don't like the way she did Bob either. I guess you guys can tell I have a knack for women who mistreat, men who can be somewhat vulnerable to women, you know. Um, Sheree married Bob because Bob was in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons, and as soon as he got out of that, she wanted a divorce. And then she thought that even though he was not really that wealthy at the time, he was only worth about 10 mil. She thought he was going to build her this big, beautiful home and pay child support at the same time. $10 million runs out very quickly, you know, for some people. So you think yeah, yeah, I think it seemed pretty scripted as well, especially with Contessa, Dr. Contessa, I'll say. It really did. Yeah, Bob is a smart guy. You know, I hope he finds love. Um, I've heard some rumors, and sometimes men get desperate for women and they just go anywhere. It's like, no, don't do that. You want to say, don't do that, because I heard that Bob has been out here on these YouTube streets, y'all. And when it comes to women, I digress with that. But Bob needs to like really, um, I mean, look like you've taken a bath. Do you know what I'm saying? As a man, look like you smell good. You take a bath, and women will flock to that. You know, have a little class. Yeah. When you said guys say they're both mean, you mean Sheree and Nene? Well, guys, I guess that's it with me and Married to Medicine. I wish I had some music here. Next, I'll have the music as I'm kind of gradually getting this straightened out. Rose, what do you think about my what I called you about? Can't, I think she may be gone. But well, I mean, look like you've taken, look, clean yourself up. He's still worth a couple of mil. That's enough to go get a massage, relax, get yourself, looking good, take a bath, buy a nice shirt. You don't have to go buy a $3,000 shirt. You can go right into Nordstrom's or Neiman Marcus and get a $300 shirt, for someone of his stature. For me, I would not buy a $300 shirt. If it's more than 50, I will complain, really. But I digress. So, I just wanted to come on here and try this. I'm so glad that three people showed up. I'll probably do this again now that I know how to use um, the part of StreamYard I've been trying to use. And you guys, I want you to join me tomorrow night. I will be doing an interview with the bishop. Okay. And for you who do not know him, he was formerly associated with, that avatar on the other side of YouTube, the other side of those streets. So I'll be doing that tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So please join me. And you guys have a great evening and be blessed, okay? Thank you for showing up.